Hi, I'm Amaya, and welcome back to the Amaya Show. This is episode 5, and as always, we have a lot to get through. But I did want to start off by saying I have braids, I am now blonde, and I did them myself. I'm super excited to record some more videos with my new hairstyle. And yeah, this is my first time having blonde hair. I think, no, that's not entirely true. I have put blonde color in before, like a hair wax, but it never looks authentically blonde because it's always a little. My hair is black, and then you put the blonde on top, so it never looks really like blonde hair for real. But this one does a lot more than the hair color typically does. So I'm really excited to have my new style for the summer. And now we can talk about some of the actual topics for today's video. Starting off is called Stray City. StrayKids is going to be doing a festival starting off in a few countries in Latin America. They will be the headliner for every stop of this festival, and their brother group Next Z will be a not a main event. That's a boxing term. What do they call it when it's just another group that performs at the festival? They're just going to be another performer. Next Z is going to perform along with a few artists from those specific countries. So, first, I want to look at what countries they will have performers from. And I also want to talk about why this is such an interesting topic to me. Also, if you're watching this video, you can see that Felix is on my photo card for today, and I chose that on purpose because it was topical. Okay, Stray City. First of all, we recently spoke about how JYP, the man, not the company, JYP wants to start a K-pop festival with the other companies in the Big Four, and it was going to start off in Korea and then travel to different countries, and his goal was to start this by 2027. So when they announced Stray City, I thought this was really interesting because this could be the first attempt at what will become that festival. Phenomenon. Phenomenon. I think that's what they were going to call it. I think that's a little hard to say, but you do you, you're the professionals. Okay, let's see what they have to say about Stray City. It will happen in Bogota, Colombia, Buenos Aires, Argentina, and Mexico City, Mexico. Okay, from September 9th will be the first date. September 14th is the second date, and September 25th is the third date. So that is pretty fast, and it's also really good just to get a few days in a couple different places and see how it goes. I'm curious as to, will this be like open air? Because I feel like a festival doesn't feel like a festival if it's indoors, right? So how does weather come into the planning for this? Also, with this being across countries, I am really interested in that idea as well. And with this being like a pop up thing. And as I discussed in one of my videos a couple months ago, JYP likes to test out ideas on StrayKids first because they see them as their most successful group currently. So things like new album inclusions, performance setups, things like that, they like to test out on StrayKids first. So this festival, if it is successful, I believe we'll see other JYP artists do a similar thing. I also thought starting off in Latin America was really interesting. Normally, we know Latin America is not the biggest market for K-pop. We can see that by just looking at some of the K-pop companies' financials, but it's a growing area. As I said in my NMIX video, there are a lot of fans in Latin America. This is also an audience that doesn't get tours very often. So when someone like StrayKids comes around, they're a lot more likely to put up the money to go see them as opposed to, say, the US, where we just saw StrayKids last year. So I think if this fan base does not want to come out and see the festival, that's definitely telling, and it might indicate that this isn't a really good idea. But what I expect is that there will be great attendance for these concerts. I expect that tickets would sell out really fast, actually. So I think they're setting them up for a great turnout with the setup for this event. Like, if they picked if they did this in Korea, if they did this in the US, areas where we see Stray Kids a lot more often, I don't think the turnout would be as great as it would be in an area like Latin America. Also, with them tagging along NextZ, there are a lot of groups under JYP that they could bring along with them that are more recent and less popular than Stray Kids. Almost every group. But I think NextZ was an interesting group to bring with them because they have never done an event like this. NextZ has never done a tour. Not true. They toured in Japan. They've really focused their promotional efforts in Asia so far. Specifically, Korea and Japan, they're like tied for their number one promotional efforts. And then the rest of Asia. And so far, for the US, the rest of the West, they haven't really tried to promote as at all. They did speak more English in their title tracks and some of the songs on their albums, and they talked about trying to practice learning English more, but they haven't done anything that would indicate that they want to be big in the West. So this is the first thing they've really done to show that. So I think this could be telling for them as well if people really like their performances. I'm always excited to see K-pop go to new places. I think the Latin American fan base is really passionate. We talked about that with NMIX. I can see why JYP would want to tap into this fan base, especially since they have the money to expand out here. And I'm super excited to see what kind of show they put on, especially because there are going to be local artists from Latin America at these festivals as well. My expectation was that it would just be K-pop artists, but I think this makes it a little more interesting, and it also makes it more in tune with the local culture. I could see this appealing to people who may not even like K-pop. I could see them saying, I'm going just to see the people that I already know. So I think that's a really interesting strategy as well. Would you go to a K-pop festival if you don't like K-pop, you just like the other performers? Perhaps. Also, we've been talking about the L2K survival show for several years now. In case you don't know, L2K is the Latin American version of A2K, and that's the show where JYP formed their first American group ever with Girl Set. At the time, they were called Vicha. So JYP has been planning for several years to do a follow-up to that show called L2K for the Latin American audience, but it's been pushed off for a while. Perhaps if their K-pop groups are as successful as they want them to be in Latin America, it would show that there's some interest there. Maybe it would show that they don't need a group just for Latin America because they can capture the audience through a different way. But I'm really interested to see if this is potentially tied in with that. And yeah, I actually had a lot to say on that topic. I'm surprised. I didn't know any of the other performers, but I'm not, surprisingly for someone who learned Spanish, I'm not that big into, I don't listen to a lot of Spanish music. Got to work on that. Next up, this is a big album that we have been waiting for a while. I talked about Aespa's Rich Man when that dropped. I talked about Whole Different Animal in my last podcast episode, and today we're talking about Lemonade. So there's actually a lot going on here. Lemonade is the title track for Aespa's newest album, and I don't really know where my thoughts are on it. I thought that it was a really interesting song, right? It feels like a return to form for Aespa. With their last several title tracks, Rich Man, Dirty Work, I'm forgetting one. Okay, they did Rich Man, they did Dirty Work, they did, it's not coming to mind. It's not coming to mind, guys. Okay, they had 2 comebacks last year with they had Rich Man and Dirty Work. I have noticed a pattern with Aespa, right? we had Armageddon, which was, dark and gritty. It kind of fit with their theming. Armageddon was their first title track that felt very gray. I'm talking in terms of color. Also, it was not that characteristically futuristic sound that Aespa typically goes for. They had the futuristic style in some of their outfits and in the theming of the comeback, but we didn't really see it, right? When I think of Armageddon, I think of them in those black and white outfits. Armageddon was not the title track before Dirty Work, by the way. I'm just talking about Armageddon because I'm going back to that era. The next era, we have Whiplash, right? Whiplash was literally black and white. And it was the song also was kind of monotone through the whole thing because they're having this cool image. You know what I mean? They're so cool, people get whiplash turning their necks to see them. The next era after Whiplash, we get Dirty Work. Sharp teeth bite. That's not me making fun of them, guys. I'm saying the way that they were saying the lines. They were, again, going with this super cool image, not very futuristic looking, as in how we knew them from debut up to Supernova and Armageddon. They were kind of wearing regular person clothes, they just looked like celebrities. Again, very black and white. The next era, we get Rich Man. Again, not a lot of color visually. Not a lot of that futuristic sound. They went for more of a rock kind of thing, which was cool, but don't have our futuristic sound. We also were not very vocal heavy at this point for Aespa, which is uncharacteristic because drama, we loved them singing in drama. We loved Supernova was a little more laid back, but Armageddon, Supernova era, we still got some of those vocals. And Whiplash, they had, I think it's called a bridge, where we got those vocals back that we love from Aespa. So the whole song was not monotone, right? And then after that, it's like they shifted, I think in an attempt to appeal more to the West, but they really shifted into this monotone, black and white type of feeling. Now they had their pre-release, which was WDA, Whole Different Animal. And I honestly think this is a really interesting title track. Whole Different Animal, again, we see that black and white theming, right? We do have some kind of visual callbacks to Supernova era. Remember Supernova era, they had those, and also Whiplash. Whiplash, they were on a film stage for the whole video. For Supernova, they had some visual effects on their faces, right? So they did keep that futuristic type of look. In Whole Different Animal, remember we see the girls on a green screen. So certain things like that, the computerized elements, we still had that. But Whole Different Animal sounded monotone, and that aligns with their songs that were made to appeal to the West, right? But then we have a feature from G-Dragon. G-Dragon is not, I mean, he may have performed at Coachella, I believe, but G-Dragon is not a name that you can say over here and people are like, oh yeah, that's our guy. So G-Dragon, I wouldn't put G-Dragon on a song as a feature if I was trying to appeal to the West. And I'll just say my opinion. I don't think he needed to be on that song at all. I feel like a feature has to really amplify a song for it to make sense. And then whenever they performed the song, they performed it without the feature, right? So the song felt whole and complete without the feature. I think that's why it doesn't work. Because whenever you perform on a music show, we're not going to hear the feature. So we get used to not hearing the feature. And the song has to feel whole and complete without him anyway. My personal opinion. Back to the topic. We're talking about Aespa. Yes. So Whole Different Animal, again, goes with their songs where they're trying to appeal to the West. I thought Whole Different Animal was a slight improvement to Rich Man and Dirty Work. Whole Different Animal I found listenable. I didn't put it in my playlist, but if the song comes on, I'm not going to skip it. I'll let it play. So that was the pre-release for this era. Then we get Lemonade, which is the title track for this era. Or maybe they're dual title tracks. Either way, the other promotional single for this era is Lemonade. I listened to this song and I felt kind of that original Aespa feeling with their futuristic vibes. The video was really cool. Yeah, from what I remember, the video was really cool. A lot of color. It had a lot of color in it, and it's something that we haven't seen from Aespa in a while, but it's something that I loved. And I think K-pop fans have been talking about recently wanting to see more color, right? When we think back to a few years ago, what people loved about New Jeans was their refreshing, uh, refreshing concept, bright colors, things like that. Not to make everything about New Jeans. They will come up later on. But I just feel like color livens everything up. Black and white is so hard to be known for as well. How can you wear black and white and make it your own? You know what I mean? Everything's in grayscale. It's kind of boring. You can't really make neutral your thing. I feel like Aespa's thing was that color, and they kind of pushed back on it with their previous comebacks, and that now it's coming back. I also felt that Lemonade would be a really important comeback for them as a group, because this is their okay, Lemonade, we had Rich Man, we had Dirty Work. Okay. If this comeback matched with that black and white monotone theming again that we had from their previous two, to me it would cement that that's really where they want to take the group. I think 3 comebacks in a row says what you want. If you do 3 comebacks in a row where you're just playing around and not trying to send your group, like, let's say a group has 3 comebacks in a row that are all country music. That's what you want to do now. You're not doing 3 comebacks in a row of one thing if that's not what you want to be. So I let 3 comebacks dictate whether or not I think this is a group for me to tune into continuously. I think Aespa is still on the fence. Whole Different Animal matched with their previous comebacks. Lemonade, to me, felt like a return to form. Like, if Supernova was their last comeback and they dropped Lemonade, I would say these make sense together. I wouldn't think anything of it. So, now I'm curious for their next era. Are they still going on this appealing to the West, black and white, baddie theme, image, sound? Or are you going back to your crazy, futuristic roots with these bright colors? I don't know if I'd say they have to choose, but I think it's hard to be known for doing 2 different things at once. If they want to be big in the West and they're pushing this image that doesn't align with what they're known for in South Korea, I think that's going to get kind of confusing. And another reason I want to mention Aespa is that they are going on tour. And when I originally talked about this tour, I thought that they would sell out tickets pretty fast. But last time I checked, they were kind of having trouble doing that, which did surprise me temporarily. But there are a few reasons why this would be happening. And with one of them that they did... Ooh, let's try again. One reason that I didn't mention before is that... with Aespa's dancing, they kind of rely heavily on their backup dancers, and then they're not necessarily known for singing live. So I think though that may be hindering them from getting more fans to come out and see them. If your live performance isn't offering as much as people would want, maybe that's the reason. It could be that their biggest fans just saw them last year and they don't have enough casual fans, but I think Aespa's a group with a ton of casual fans. Cost of living, perhaps, but BTS sold out, but we haven't seen BTS in several years. So there are so many factors. What's a group that's on the level of Aespa that's going on tour right now where you could say, that's kind of like I said, Idol. I thought Idol would sell out venues, but they don't promote in the West a lot. So that kind of makes sense as to why they didn't. I think it's all also about the scale, right? Is Aespa trying to be in venues that are just too big? Maybe you could sell out shows. Of course they could. You're just trying to sell out shows that are too big for your group. All factors to consider. I'm curious to see what happens with LE SSERAFIM's tour. They're a group that's always kind of been up and down to me. And in whatever podcast episode, once they drop their tickets, I'll definitely be talking about that. Because I think I'm just really interested in how they're perceived in different places. Also, since I'm already talking about Aespa, they did kind of reference New Jeans in some of their choreography. I thought that was pretty cool. They said, I have no ETA, and they did like the one arm up, one arm twirling move from Ditto. And they did another one of the moves from a New Jeans dance as well. And I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. I was a pre-debut New Jeans fan. Like, from when they posted the first video, I was like, whoa, this looks super interesting. Uh, and I was interested to see what they had to do. I do want to see New Jeans come back, but almost in like a curious way, not in a I think this group is gonna be what it was before. I don't really you can't expect a group to be the same with 1 to 2 less members when the group was already kind of small. It was only 5 members. But I kind of want to see what they have to offer. I want to see what sound they're going to go with, because you could honestly say that the refreshing sound has been played out by now, or that everyone's kind of tossed their hat into the ring. New Jeans was starting to experiment with things. I think they always experimented, but they were kind of branching out a little bit. Like How Sweet, that's not a song that I really thought New Jeans would make. So that was something I was tuned into when it first came out. I didn't really like that song, actually. Bubblegum, it was cool, but it didn't give me that same feeling as their first album or even their second one. But really, New Jeans didn't have a lot of music. New Jeans didn't have a lot of music. The Get Up album, that one was cool, but really, how long is their discography? Less than an hour for sure. All of their official releases got to be less than an hour. So I hope that when they come back, I don't know how this got to, I mean, I hope that when they come back, people don't hold the same ideas that they had about this group 2 to 3 years ago, because they're definitely going to be giving something different. They have to change with the times. They can't release the music that they originally had planned, right? Because I don't know. Yeah, I'll definitely talk about that when that comes out. I need to pull up my list of topics. Okay, next is album reviews. On my last video, which was an album review of LE SSERAFIM's Pure Flow Part 1, a few of you guys said that you really liked that video. Thank you so much. It didn't perform, it kind of performed how I expected, but it didn't perform as well as my other videos. So thank you for letting me know that you guys liked it. If I were to do an album review in the future, should I do an older album review? Should I do a newer one? I think it's best to do an album review when the album comes out, so I can fully have my own opinions on it and not be influenced by other people. That's what I tried to do with my review of LE SSERAFIM. Every time I saw someone do a review, unless I had already written my review for that song, I skipped past it because I didn't want to have others' thoughts infiltrate my mind. I wanted it to be completely authentically what I thought. But yeah, I think album review videos are pretty interesting. I like hearing what people have to say. And I am interested in doing one in the future. I think maybe I should do like one girl group, one boy group. But I don't think boy group comebacks get as much attention as girl group ones do. So I think, unless I did like BTS or something, or I did Blackpink, maybe. Blackpink probably won't drop for another year. Is BTS supposed to be having regular comebacks now, or are they going to be kind of like most older groups and just do one a year? Because the ship on that may have sailed by now. But yeah, let me know what groups you'd want to see me review in the comment section, and I'll tell you if I can get to that. Then I have a kind of just a question for you guys as a whole. Actually, we're gonna do my top songs of the week. It's actually the top song since I did the last episode, because I think my last episode was over a week ago now, and I want to include all of the songs that I've liked since then. This isn't all of them. This is just the K-pop ones. So first up, we have OMG by Alpha Drive 1. I will say this is not the most creative song. It's not the most, I mean, it's not the kind of song that it comes on and you're like, whoa, what's the name of that song? I need to know what that song is. It's the kind of song that comes on and your dad lets you play it. He's like, that's okay. This is the kind of song to me that it's all right. It's cool. I put it in my playlist. But by the end of the year, will I remember it? Probably not. And that's fine. Then, actually, it's pretty interesting because their member Gonwoo was not in this comeback. And it's because of some type of bullying scandal. And, I mean, if you're an Alpha Drive 1 fan, you can let me know. But I get that it's a different thing than what we heard about before he debuted. But to me, it's like, why is everybody making a fuss now? Because we already knew that he allegedly was a bully as a trainee, right? And I think he apologized for that. So, not that apologizing for something undoes it. I'm just saying, I thought that the fans were cool with this. Is there anyone who was cool with supporting the group with his previous allegations, but not with the ones now? That's kind of what's confusing me. But fans, please let me know in the comment section if I'm confused on something. The next song is Okay by Zykers. This song is pretty cool. I couldn't recite it from memory. I have been into Zykers for a while now. I actually have a Zykers photo card as well. I have photo cards for most of the groups that I talk about pretty regularly, I think. I also had one for Aespa, but I could only do one for the video. But, yeah. I like this song, pretty cool. If you watch the music video, turn your brightness down. This video was flashing lights. It was obviously the loud music, switching scenes quickly. This video gave me whiplash. It was like overload, brain overload. It was a lot. So I wouldn't watch this video if you have light sensitivity or anything like that. And then I only have 3 songs. Okay. Then I have Top 5 by Zero Base One. This song, I feel like it's kind of everything I came to K-pop for. This sounds like Justin Timberlake, early 2000s R&B, pop, early 2000s pop. I don't think this is what the R&B was given off. If you listen to this song, you should definitely feel the Justin Timberlake vibes. I think that was really accurate in my description. I think this song is also kind of shady. We know that Zero Base One is now only 5 members. The other 4 members left and are now a part of Antubel. They're now part of another group under Yehua Entertainment. And so them making a song called Top 5 when they are now 5 members is really funny to me. And I like that. Top 5. You're a list of my top 5. Wait, top 5. Made a list of my top 5 favorite things of all time. Yeah, I like that one. Is Zero Base One ever going to go on a tour? This is a question I have for all of these temporary groups. Are they going on tour? Speaking of temporary groups, IZ*ONE, no. IOI just had their 10-year reunion, and only 2 of the members couldn't make it. It's pretty cool that they got most of them. And I was thinking, why are all of these survival show groups having to come back at the same time? And then I remembered a lot of people said that they're trying to do these comebacks really closely together because the World Cup is coming up. So K-pop companies don't really want anything that's going to have to compete with that. My thing is, well, I guess K-pop fans are a wide group of people. In my head, when I think about it, I don't conflate K-pop fans with sports fans. I don't think of them as the same groups of people. Even though I am vaguely a sports fan, what do we think about the NBA finals? See, you know what I mean? That's not something that I would put up on here because I don't think that that's what you guys would be interested in. That's not what the analytics say. I don't think you guys are generally sports fans. So, I'm just curious as to why they think that the World Cup would really distract from people being interested in K-pop. I don't think that they're the same audience. But I'm sure they have more numbers than I do. I just thought it was really interesting to say that because I don't think that I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think the overlap is going to be that crazy. Then okay, yes. I'm going to close out today's episode with a question for you guys. What do you think about pop culture as a whole? If I were to make videos just generally about pop culture, would you be interested in that, or do you only want to watch videos about K-pop? So for example, if I were to talk about, like, Lotto just dropped an album, right? If I were to talk about some of my thoughts behind this album, how she's been promoting it, kind of framing it as a retirement album, are you generally interested in that? Please say no if you're not interested, because then I just won't make the video. But is that something that you guys would care about? Are you interested in, Sabrina Carpenter, Ariana Grande? Are you interested in general pop culture things, movies? Is sports in there? Or are you guys only interested in music? Because from what I've seen, you guys do just have an interest in music in general, pop music in general, not just K-pop. So potentially I could expand out there. I'm just trying to see all of the areas where it would make sense for me to make a video. If I'm not coming up with K-pop topics, should I just do pop music, just pop culture? Can I do a movie review on here? Where are we at? What's the vibe? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for making it to the end of the episode. And have you been watching my shorts? What's the thought on that? Let me know. Can everybody please write a full essay about the state of my channel and drop it in the comment section so I can read a little bit about that. But yeah, the shorts have been pretty cool. I'm just chopping up my videos into little bits, and I would say I'm having fun with that. I mean, it's cool. It's not like a crazy fun thing to do. It's chill. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Amaya, and like, comments. I've never done the outro like that. Thank you guys for watching. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this podcast episode, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!